can't be giving you fish all the time. We want to take you to do the fishing yourself so that you'll understand what it takes. So what we did is we have this, I don't know if this going to go well with everybody, but that's what we did. I have a very reliable brother-in-law. So we send the money to them and he will give it to them as a loan, especially for those that's supposed to do business, and say, okay, draw your business plan. Somebody will get somebody to loan you the money. And with the notion that run your business well so you can pay back the loan. And if you pay back, it's not only benefiting you, you'll be able to borrow again over and over, because it's supposed to be a business you have. That business is generating income, you're paying back. And then not just for you, it will also benefit Miss B, Miss A, Mr. D, that will also dip their hands into that pocket. So that's what we did. So we stopped handing out cash as if we had three.
Welcome to our new series, My Financial Missteps, where we interview immigrants to share their financial stories coming to America and give us helpful tips to help others avoid their missteps. We are so excited about our guest today. She has over 10 years experience in corporate service, corporate finance leadership, and she's the finance lead in an online payment securing servicing company, co-founder of Zenith Mindset Group. She's also a licensed financial professional and coach. She's an awesome wife and a mother of 2 amazing children. You're welcome. We're excited to have you today, Mrs. Chinelo Okafor. Welcome. I don't know if you want to add anything to what I've said, anything more I omitted you want our viewers to know.
Oh, no, Miss Wachuku, you covered. That was an amazing introduction. I do
You're
appreciate
welcome,
it.
Mrs. Chinelo Okafor. You're most welcome. Popularly known as Nello.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be here tonight. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So let's just dive straight into it. The first question we want to ask you this evening is, what was your biggest financial challenge when you first arrived in the US, and how did you overcome it?
Wow, many, but the most significant one I can think of is being able to have enough money to do things. So like, I came in, I was already working back. I came from Nigeria, West Africa. I was working, I stopped work once my papers were through to came to United States. And of course, we know you come in with the exchange rate wasn't as high as it used to be now, but you come in with your small pocket change, thinking that it's gonna take you some time before you need finance. Just in less than a week, I ran out of money on my own. Luckily, I came in as a married woman, so thankfully my husband was around to really help financially. But I had to start looking for a job immediately, because you can't just pile all your bills on one person. That would be too hard. So not being able to meet my needs was the challenge, and finding out that when you exchange Naira for dollars, you have chicken change. So yeah, to overcome it, I had to quickly look for work. That was what I did. And I didn't mind what type of work, as long as I'm able to take home something in my bank account.
Exactly. So during this time, can you share maybe the financial mistake you made early on and what you learned from it, like your first financial mistake?
Okay, wow. There were many, but the first one I cannot forget is credit cards. So my culture in Nigeria, you buy things with cash. If you can't afford it, you're not going to buy it. So coming to United States and was exposed to credit card was one of my first mistakes. And you get exposed, you think it's because they like you that you're getting all those pre-approved applications in the mail. And if you're not properly taught, you dive into it. And before you know it, you're head over heels in bills all around. So taking a credit card and they will put it there. You make a minimum payment, not knowing that you're digging a deeper hole for yourself financially. So getting that credit card, first thing that was a very bad choice. And I paid for it for years.
Mm.
I did.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Go on.
no, I'm saying, like, if I'm going to talk to my younger self 10 years back or whatever I came to this country, I'm going to say, stay clear from credit card until you understand how it works and how it can benefit you. Don't jump into anything financially without understanding how it works. And the ultimate purpose is to help you. So do the pros and the cons and see which part you should go after you have thoroughly examined and know what to do next.
I actually like that qualification that you put there
Mhm.
when you say stay clear until you understand how it works.
Exactly.
That is a huge caveat there. You wanted to
Yes,
say something?
and that is why we have our Cash Talk channel here, where we try to educate our community to show them things, things they should know in this financial system they find themselves. So we try to talk about credit card, just as you're saying, and then the commandments of credit cards, because they have commandments, and if you don't obey them, you're going to find yourself in exactly what she's saying, like huge bills that you cannot pay. And if you're not careful, that is your financial downfall right there.
Yep.
Okay, jumping into something else quickly here, but how did you go about finding reliable information and the resources that you needed to help you manage your finances, knowing you are in a new country? You just told us about the differences coming here from a cash society to, so how did you find the information you needed to be able to manage your resources?
Okay, back then I didn't know where to go. So fortunately, I think, which maybe I'm sure very handful of people would have had that experience. I didn't know where to get the information. Internet wasn't as versatile as it is now. And luckily, I got a job as a financial analyst. So when they talk about certain things, I reached out and asked questions. By then, like I said, I had already made some very huge mistakes with my credit card, and listening to or talking to some of the department where I worked was financial accounting and finance department. So there were things we're doing for companies. I started looking into how that can be applicable to an individual. But having somebody to talk to outside the job, to have somebody to talk to put you through when you come into this country wasn't forthcoming at that point. Almost, I think it was hard to get information for somebody to sit you down and say, this is what I did that worked for me. I don't think we had it then. So I do appreciate what you guys are doing. If anybody will listen to your cash talk, honestly, coming into this country and having access to, like, the few questions you've asked me already, and I've also listened to some of your videos. So I'm just going to throw it out there. If you're listening to me and you haven't heard their prior interviews, please, they're going to share their link. Go and listen. Whether you're new in the country or you've been here for years, I mean, somebody, you will definitely pick up something in their interviews. So if we had something like that, especially for immigrants, we will go and find out information. And I'm thankful for social media, so thankful for what you're doing, creating that information. People can go. Now, it's not just about listening. You listen and you take action, because just listening and allowing the information to just flush through you doesn't really make sense. So listen, take action. They have a lot to share. So we didn't have that when I came to the country, or it wasn't easy. People wouldn't ordinarily tell you what they are doing that is working for them. So you will have definitely to make that mistake and try to work your way out of that mistake. And if you're lucky enough, like I did with my job, I got a little bit of information, but it wasn't enough, but it started putting me on the right path towards, how to manage my finances. But now I understand there are things you do, and there are some other state sponsored program that you can listen to. But the information I've heard you guys share a lot in your forum is amazing. So even me, I've picked a couple of things that, even though I think I know what I'm doing, I still don't know. So I'm speaking to everybody out there, whether you're new in the country or you've been here for a while, please do yourself a good favor. Go listen to their Cash Talk platform and see one or two things you can pick up. Or it will help you find out questions you can ask whoever is managing your finance. So when you're in front of them, you'll be able to say, okay, I heard this, I heard that, because they are not talking to AI. They are talking to real people with real experiences, and it's very powerful.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. That's the whole goal of this program, to educate and to help people to not to go through the same mistakes we all went through when we came here, so that they'll have at least a soft landing and begin to pick up and not make those terrible mistakes.
Yes.
Right.
Indeed. And now talking about credit card, you've hit it again. I want to know, like, what strategies did you use in building your credit score?
History.
Yes, your credit history. What did you actually do, and why is it important? The strategies you used.
So well, nobody will tell you how in depth you are to certain things until you find out that you get your paycheck. By the time you finish paying your bills, you don't even have money for ice cream on the side. So what I did is I picked up overtime from my job, and I picked it up strictly to pay off my credit card bills. Okay, I'm just gonna throw out there, my husband is wonderful. He tried to help, but you're gonna help somebody who wants to help themselves. So I picked up that job. So why I'm saying this is there is nothing as powerful as a couple sitting together. If you're a couple, sit down together and put your finance in order together. That way, I think, opposite attracts. One of you might be the spendthrift, the other one will be the one that actually holds the funds down. It's not something you can do all your own, and you need somebody to hold you accountable. So if you're like going over your limits, you have that person. Could be your spouse, could be a friend, could be a coach, it could be anybody. So what I did is, when I found out how badly I was with credit and all that, and wasn't showing good examples, I picked up part-time job. The part-time job was strictly, so your job, first of all, when you come into a new country, focus on yourself. Don't look at what A or B is doing, but learn from people's mistakes like we're talking about today. Pick up that job, did overtime to pay off my debts. Some week coming, okay, like I came in, I saw that credit card, you're swiping, you're going, and the more you're swiping, you're making that monthly payment, they will continue to increase your limit. So they don't know, as long as you're meeting that payment, even though you're not paying as much as you should pay, they will give you from 5,000, you found out without even asking you, oh, you've been approved additional 10,000, additional 20,000, all because you are making that minimum payment. And if you don't watch it, before you look at your card next time, you're 10,000, 15,000 overspent of what you can pay. But if you can catch yourself and live within your means, go back into that culture. If you're coming from a culture of buying everything with cash, do that. And another way to earn that extra cash is do overtime. Get extra cash from overtime, start paying off your small debts. And before you know it, gradually you will pay off the bigger debts that you have. So that's one of the things I did. I picked up overtime from my job. Whenever there is overtime allowed, I do as many as I can. But what I would tell you is, it might not be the best way for everybody. I'm sure I will talk more on that when they give me time to talk. I will tell you why it might not be the best, because there are other ways. Now, the other things you can do is, if you have people, like I'm going to go back to Mr. and Mrs. Wachuku, if you have people that talk about finances and how to set it up for yourself, listen to them. There might be things you can do to start generating that income yourself. You don't have to work for another person. So you do your 8 hours or 10 hours. There might be other things, other businesses, other vocation you can pick up on the side, and they will advise you on that. They will give you ideas on things you can do on the side to pick up that extra cash that can help you pay it off. So that's what I did. I picked up an extra overtime. I started working that and gradually begin to pay off. Starting with my lowest credit card, I started paying it off gradually until it's paid off. There were other things I did.
So in summing up, how would you advise the people who are listening to us today to say, okay, these are the steps you could take to build up your history? Remember, you came into this country with no credit history. I remember the challenges we had. Everywhere we went to, it was like, you don't have history. We wanted to get a house, no credit history. We were turned down with several places that we went to because we didn't have a credit history. So can you, in just a few words, say the steps you probably took to build, yes, to build your probably get your first credit card and build your credit history. So, yes.
So what I did, okay, I was already married. So I got added to my spouse credit. So that I started off with that. And then that's pretty much how I started. But I overdid it carelessly and I got hit badly for it. So I learned my lessons, and that's how I picked up the extra shift to start paying off what I did. So, but let's say you come in and you don't have that spouse or somebody that you can tap into their credit. Credit card has its own advantage, you know, in the sense that you can take that credit, maybe charge $100, but pay it off. So that's what I was talking about understanding it before you get into it. There is something called billing cycle. So for every 28, depends on each company, it could be 25 or 28 or 30 days. That's when they apply the interest on your account and you pay it. But if you understand the billing cycle, every card comes with all that record attached to it. It's part of the pamphlet they give to you. So what you're trying to, you want to pay it off before they hit you with interest, because it doesn't make sense we wait for the bill to come. Sometimes by the time the bill is coming, that interest is already added. So when you're paying off the 100, you're paying it off $110. The $10 might be. So understanding how the billing cycle of each credit, and be sure to pay it off before the next cycle kicks in. So that way you're creating a good record for yourself and you've put yourself out there in the system. Some banks also, with your debit, if you have a good relationship with your bank, they can start by giving you that card, their own credit card or their own debit that can work towards how you're managing your account. So instead of applying to a standalone company credit card, you can apply through your bank. And because you've built that history of maintaining direct deposits, maintaining your account, not overdrawing it, they might start off by giving you an overdraft line or over credit line or overdraft protection. And if you're maintaining it well, and then you step it up by asking for credit card. But the bottom line is starting your life by living way beyond what you can afford puts you in a very bad position. So credit card is good. Understand how it works before you dive into it. Speak to somebody in your bank that can educate you on how you can use it and other ways you can create or build your credit, and you can start from them. Credit unions are good, you know, in doing that for you. So instead of building a relationship with a big time banks, you can start with your local credit union. And believe me, their interest rates are usually better. Their credit allocation is way much better than those big name banks.
Yes, that's very true. And we discussed this in one of our episodes where we talked about how you can obtain a credit card even if you do not have any credit history, for those that are just arriving here. So if you have not watched that episode, the link is going to pop up somewhere at the top. You can click it and go watch it.
Okay, Mrs. Okafor, the other question we want to ask is this. We all know we all come or came from Africa, right? And we have family back home, we have obligations back home. So how do you balance, you know, supporting family back home while managing all these expenses in God's own country that you are here? So how do you navigate that water, being able to still take care of your responsibilities, obligations, and all that back home, as against the reality of being here when you first arrived? And even up till now, how does that work for you?
Okay, I didn't learn that
What
lesson.
advice would you give out there, throw out there? Yes.
I didn't learn that lesson early enough, but I have a practice that works diligently now. But before that, knowing where you're coming from, a lot of people depend on you and all that. So and remember, over here, you have that credit card. So you're using money from your credit card that you don't even own the money, and you're funding somebody elsewhere. And it can only take so much for you to realize that this is not the right thing to do. So, and most of the time, it's sad to say, they think you have a tree that actually yields cash for you.
Needs money.
Yes, because once they ask, you send. Once, and until we learned a process. So we happened from our own hard-earned money, we would send home, and it won't be just that, you would do it multiple times a month. And when you don't do, there's this guilt you have, we all know the story. So, but what we did is, as time was going and it was taking a toll on us, we came up with, instead of giving money, we said, okay, what if you have a business plan and we get somebody over there to sponsor it for you, so that when you start making money from the business, you pay back. So initially it didn't go well, but it was like, you have to be doing, we can't be giving you fish all the time. Figure how we want to take you to do the fishing yourself, so that you'll understand what it takes. So what we did is, we have this, I don't know if this gonna go well with everybody, but that's what we did. I have a very reliable brother-in-law. So we send the money to them, and he will give it to them as a loan, especially for those that's supposed to do business, and say, okay, draw your business plan. Somebody will get somebody to loan you the money, and with the notion that run your business well so you can pay back the loan. And if you pay back, it's not only benefiting you, you'll be able to borrow again over and over, because it's supposed to be a business you have. That business is generating income, you're paying back. And then not just for you, it will also benefit Miss B, Miss A, Mr. D, that will also dip their hands into that pocket. So that's what we did. So we stopped handing out cash as if we had three, but we started doing it in form of loan, and it's working amazing. So if you have to come up with something you want to do, and he will analyze it, and then so we get our money back. So since then, they will borrow and pay back, and we've been recycling that within the family. So if anybody wants something to start the business, which is different from students who you're making contribution towards their academic and all that. That one is different. But for most people, adults that should have something doing, but because they know they have somebody overseas, they call you, there is always fire on the mountain all the time. So find something so that if you're able to establish a business, another person establishes a business, like there are four of you, the burden will not be so much on one person. So, and after several years, they understood, because a lot of them partook in that bucket. So now it becomes like a family trust, where if you need money, you borrow, you put it back so that another person can borrow. But we didn't start off like that. So that's how we've been able to balance it. And we have a break. They have a good source of business income. And I noticed that businesses don't fail that much as it used to before, because if you don't contribute, I don't think you have the face to go back to ask for more. So if you say, I'm going to use it for this business, at least put something back. We know how businesses work in Nigeria, but at least you make money, you pay back. Then it will be understandable when you're not making money. If people decide to help you, they can help, knowing that if your business picks up again, you will be able to pay back into that bucket. So that's how we've been able to balance that financial life between here and back home.
That's a smart move.
Very brilliant.
Yeah, something one can do.
Yeah, that's a brilliant one.
Yeah.
I just learned something from you now too. So you see, we never stop learning, and that's a brilliant way of helping people out there. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe you can tell us, with this, since we're able to come up with this brilliant idea, maybe share with our viewers, what advice will you give members of our community on how to save and invest for the future?
When you come in And there are so many now with internet, social media, and all that everybody is talking about. And if you're here with what happened in 2020, it's even opened our eyes more to the need to put something away, something, not just putting it away in buckets that it will work for you. So we've been exposed to several savings buckets. But what I'm going to tell everybody is your goals, your financial goals, your plans is all, you all know that individually. My goals are different. Another person's goal is different. So, but what I know is no matter how young you are, at some point, the body is going to get tired. So when you're young and you think you can conquer the world, that is good. Just make sure you're planning for when the body can no longer take on the world. That means your retirement. If it's not just your retirement, that something might happen. Let's say what happened in 2020 happens again. Where do you find yourself financially? If you're paying attention to the stock market, we heard what happened 2 days ago. It was red, complete red, 2 days, like 30-something thousand points lost within, I don't know, hours. It did gain it back, but where do you stand? Where you're saving your money, or where you're planning for the future, or the buckets, your financial plans or goals you have for yourself, how frequently do you assess them to make sure they are working? How do you evaluate your growth, that the $100 you're putting today continues to grow from 100 to 110 to 120, and not after 24 years, 12 months, you find out you're still in 100, even though you moved a little bit as if it's moving. So find out, how does your bucket work? If you're putting your money in the bank, how does it grow? If you're putting your money in retirement plan known to us, the 401ks, the 529 for the college planning, do you really understand how that money is growing? So there are several avenues that your money can grow. I'm going to put it back to Mr. and Mrs. Nwachukwu because I've listened to some of their videos. They have multiple plans, depends on what you're looking for. Some people, you will ask them, hey, what is your plan for tomorrow? They say, I don't plan to retire in the United States, which is great. We all coming from Africa or forever, wherever we're coming. I love my country. If you don't know where I'm from Nigeria. And if you know any Nigeria around you, we love to have fun. No matter the stories you're hearing about Nigeria, is one of the most fun-loving, lively people, loving people you can ever hang out with. So eventually, some of us want to retire there. But what I can tell you is you cannot retire there empty-handed. So you have to draw that plan well now. If you're young, if you're close to retirement, make sure your plan is something that can stand the test of time. Make sure your plan is not something when you go back to Nigeria and you do your exchange rate, you find out that you didn't save more. Let's not talk about retirement. If you listen to their video, they've talked so much about it. Let's talk about what if something happens? You're not able, you get laid off from your job, or you quit and you don't have another job, or you're just tired of doing that job you want to, so you're in between jobs, or you're too sick. What plans do you have in place? Because you can't just outrightly stop earning your income. You know what that is going to do to your finances. So if your goal is, whether it's for yourself or for your family or for your children, or even creating a bucket like I talked about to help people back in your country, sit with them to draw that plan for you. There are so many avenues when you sit down with them, because I'm telling you this because I've listened to their videos. You can not listen to their video without reaching out to them. So they have so many tips, they have so many ideas, and the good thing is case by case. What I want, what my goals are different from what your goals are. I just all of a sudden found myself as an empty nester, which doesn't make me feel good, but that's where I am. So some of my financial plans have changed. So I equally start with them and did analysis. So the way you visit the hospital every year to do your physical checkup, They provide it complimentarily, meaning it's free of charge. Get in touch with them, sit down with them, let them do your own financial checkup. What is it going to do for you? It's going to tell you where you stand as of the day they're going to complete that analysis. It will tell you this is where you are. If you're doing very well, it will show. If you need some work to do, it will show. And the good thing about what the services they provide is they will point you to the right direction. So for everybody, single, young, old, middle, retired, non-retired, about to retire, about to start your financial career, your career in college, about to go to college, everybody, they have room for you. So reach out to them, let them review what you're currently doing. Now, you might say, I have a financial advisor. Perfect, excellent. What questions do you bring on the table for them? They will work it with you and give you a transcript of questions to ask to ensure that your financial advisor is doing the right thing for you. Because it's going to be so sad that at the end of the day, with your financial planner and with the high maintenance fee you're paying them, you will be the one left with an empty bag. Is that possible? Yes. Your financial planning, your financial knowledge, your financial decision is your priority, is your responsibility. You might be paying somebody else to do it, but sit down with Mr. and Mrs. Nwachukwu, let them analyze, tell you where you are, and point you on the direction on how to move forward. If you're doing it very well, they will tell you they have the tool. They will walk you through all that they need to know, and they will print out the results or the transcript for you. That's what I have to say to that.
Wow.
Thank you so much. That was a great advert.
I know,
But
because
yes,
you guys have done it for me. So I'm talking out of experience.
yes, we remain committed and passionate to help our communities to design their financial dreams. So we are here, and reach out, as she said.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Chinelo Okafor, for reaching out to us, for accepting our invitation to be here with us and to share your wealth of experience with the audience. Folks, she has dropped wonderful nuggets there. I would encourage you, go back, re-listen to this video, watch it over and over again, and pick up those nuggets so that your experience will be different in the US. So finally, before we let you go, Mrs. Okafor, we know you have so many other commitments and we don't want to hold you down for too long. Now, can you share, I know you've mentioned a bit of it, but probably some more cultural differences in financial practices that you had to adapt to when you came to the US, as against where you came from. Cultural financial practices, if you understand what I mean. So if there are any, I know you did mention some of them. You talked about the credit, buying with cash as against credit and all that. So do you want to just chip in a few words on those and we'll call it a day?
The only one of them that is crossing my mind is insurance.
Okay.
So back in the days in my country is not, I mean, I don't know if because of lack of trust with insurance companies or things like that, people don't buy so much into it. But fortunately, we're in a country where looks like the economy is built on insurance. You know, there are things, your car, you have car insurance, you have your home. If something worth something to you, you insure it. So if it doesn't, so I don't know how much we value our lives, but the way I put it is, you know your worth. That you remember your grandpa is because he did something remarkable. That was a type of insurance he put in your life. Maybe he was the one that taught you how to read or the one that paid for your school. But we are in a country where insurance covers mostly everything we do. So if you're one of those that you don't like the word insurance, please look into it. Life insurance is not only about dying. I've come to realize that certain life insurance gives you more benefits as a living person than when you pass away. When you pass away and go to be with Jesus, it doesn't matter at that point. Nobody cares. apart from those you left behind. But when I found out in America that there are certain insurance that pretty much covers everything you're looking for, that was an eye-opener to me because I wasn't aware of it. So don't listen. That the most important thing, like they said here, is knowledge. Knowledge is power. It can only be power if you put it into use. So learn about life insurance. What are those available? Some will tell you, oh, I have one through my job. Really? What if you walk away from that job? Do you still have it? And the saddest thing we don't think about is nobody has time. Nobody knows tomorrow. Even as a new baby, you don't know what the child's tomorrow is going to be like. So the earlier you do your part and then, let the rest figure itself out, but do your part. As a parent, you owe it to your family to protect what matters to you. And what matters to you starts with you. You're one of the valuable assets in your family. Without you, there will not be those kids. Without you and the mom, or you, the he or the she, there will not be the children. As a single person, you owe it to yourself. Your life worth something. It's unfortunate that we allow insurance companies to determine that, because when you meet insurance companies, you're meeting them. Like if I want life insurance now, the insurance companies are meeting me. They are getting to know me from today. So they are going to assess me based on what they know in my records. But I know myself. I know my worth. I know whether I bring wisdom or knowledge or fun to people. Those things are what make me who they are. If I'm no longer here tomorrow, what will I want to be remembered for? These are the things you have to look at and see, hey, which insurance works for me? We all have car insurance. You cannot walk away from the parking lot without having an insurance. If a police stops you in some states and you don't have a car insurance, you're against the law. You know that. But what about you, the driver behind that steering? How protected are you? The people you love so much, what are they going to fall back on if you fall sick and that check is no longer coming to the table? What kind of insurance do you have that will protect you? Or if you lose that job and for 2, 3, 4 months, you're not able to find it, do you have something that protects you, protects your family? I'm not talking about swiping your credit card. I'm not talking about going for personal loan. I'm talking about you, the coverage you made for yourself, the security you've built for yourself. How is it going to cover you this generation and the generation after you? So that culture, we're not used to it where I come from. When you pass, you pass. Whatever is left is scattered here and there. But I'm glad we are in a culture where things are planned ahead of time. And they are planned to last from generation to generation to generation. The thing is, do you know what those things are? Do you know how they work? Do you know how to implement them? We can do all the research you have, but some people have been licensed, they are experts, they know what they are talking about. So in addition to your research, in addition to knowing what you know, reach out to such experts. And I'm going to take it back to Mr. and Mrs. Nwachukwu. They have the license, they have the knowledge. If you haven't tapped into what they provide, you're really missing a lot. Like I said, sit down with them. It's complimentary because that's what they did for me. Sit down with them, let them go over certain things and change your perspective about certain things and enable you to build a future that will benefit not just you, not just your immediate family, but will go far into generations to come. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Chinelo Okafor. That was a powerful one. You all heard her. These are things that we overlook, but these are things that are very essential to our well-being. She talked about insurance, that cultural difference from where we came from in Africa. We never took insurance seriously. Nope. But here, you discover, like she's mentioned, you can't drive out of the parking lot without insurance. You buy a cell phone, you insure it. Yes. You buy this, you insure it. Your mortgage is insured, even by the bank, before you even sign the dotted lines and all that. So what about your life? So we ask you, reach out, and we thank you, Mrs. Okafor. Mrs. Okafor, if these folks would want to reach you.
Before you do that, there's a final question. There's a secret question, but anyway, you have
my wife is now taking me by surprise.
You have answered it in a way, but we normally like to conclude our questioning
Okay.
by asking this question, but you have already given a bit of it. But if you want to add anything to it, we will appreciate it. How do you think platforms like Cash Talk, Financial Conversations for Immigrants can make a difference in the lives of immigrants? And what advice will you give our viewers to make the most out of the resources that we provide here on this platform?
Oh, I can't say that enough because like I said, if you're coming from Africa, there are certain things we're very good at. And there are certain things that we don't know much about. We don't even implement it. So there are great things about Africa or wherever you're migrating from, because something made you leave your country, the people you love, to go to another country. There is something you're looking for. And in order to achieve what you're looking for, live at that level you anticipate your life to be, or whatever reason it is that pulled you. For me, is it not up to 3,000 or 4,000 miles from Nigeria to United States? You can't even drive it. You have to fly. So whether you like to fly or not, that's your problem. But you have to fly, and it's not just a straight flight. You have to do like 1 or 2 other airports before you land here. And you leave something you're familiar with to come over to United States. So when you come, there is nothing as, like they say, when you get to Rome, do like the Romans. That's a popular saying. Understanding the culture, how things work, is very important. Cash Talk is one of the things that will help you. The major reason people migrated from various places is to look for a better life. You can't do that without finance. That is impossible. When you're saying that you want to improve your life, yes, you want to get education and be able to get a job and manage your life from there. So tapping into Cash Talk is one of the first things you have to do for yourself. Go through their videos. They've interviewed a lot of experts, and these are real people with real experiences. And believe me, you're going to pick more than one thing from every of them that you listen to. So pay attention to the questions they are asking. Tap into the ideas or suggestions or things they are providing for people. And most especially, reach out to them. They are one of the wonderful couples I've worked with, especially in the financial world. Reach out to them, ask them questions. It is complimentary, meaning you don't have to pay. A lot of companies, you go there, they will tell you how much it's going to cost you. Or they will invite you to symposium or webinar, and you have to pay buy a ticket. These are the ways you're going to make a payment, but they offer it free. Because they know that once they drop you, some come in, they don't even speak English. How do you want to start managing in a country where you don't even understand the language? So, but listening to them, reaching out to them, they will point you on the right direction. They even have communities, whatever language you're speaking, they will get somebody from that culture to speak to you in the language that you'll understand, but help you to start day one into that plan that will give you the American dream or the American life that you're looking for. So please, if you haven't done so, they share their link. Click on the link, watch several videos. Their contact information is also listed there, and reach out to them. And if you want to reach out to me personally, reach out to them. They know how to find me. And
Mrs. Okafor, would you want to give a number for them to reach you? Put your number out there for people to reach you, because we know that from what you guys have all heard, you know that she's filled with knowledge. She's bristling with knowledge. And it's a huge fish, it's a huge sea out there. So we would love you to reach out to her if possible. Also, would you want to share your number with them? Okay, please.
Sure. Okay, yeah, share my number, share my email address, 402-350-0590. And my email address is cokafor@experiorfinancialgroup.com.
Thank you very much. Again, thank you very much. And we sincerely appreciate this. And viewers, you've heard it all. We've spent some interesting moments with this awesome lady, this amazing Amazon, as I call her. She's not just an Amazon, she's an amazing Amazon. And she's told us so much today. So we want to thank you for spending your valuable moments with us. You could spend this time doing something else, but you've chosen to listen to this channel today. But before you go, remember to do what? Subscribe, like, comment, and share. We want you to be interactive. Comment. Let's know what you think. If you have questions, ask us. We are willing to answer those questions, to interact with you. Okay? Don't forget, share.